Welcome back to Guiding Principles. This is Tradition 3 in Service. I will read the questions at the end. I highly suggest you get a copy of this book to follow along. I will not include questions after this section. Here we go. In service, everywhere that addicts suffer, our message is the same. An addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. There is a clear connection between the third tradition and the fifth. We want all addicts to feel welcome, and we want to do our best to carry the message. Our task in service is to ensure that addicts have the opportunity to recover in Narcotics Anonymous. The third tradition reminds us of that, quote, any addict, end quote, in our message. We work to ensure that NA recovery is available to us all. Tradition 3 asks us to return again and again to the question, who is missing? And reminds us that every addict with a desire to stop using is important to us. Our service bodies carry the message to addicts in our communities, even if they cannot come to us. H&I carries our message into hospitals and institutions of all types, from homeless shelters to treatment centers to penitentiaries. H&I, outreach, or concerned members may bring meetings to homebound or ill members in hospitals and care facilities. Through public information or public relations, we give presentations to professionals, from correctional officers working with incarcerated addicts to doctors whose patients may be addicted. We maintain meeting schedules, phone lines, and websites so that addicts seeking recovery can find us. To ensure that our only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using, our services continually reach out to places where addicts are seeking help. It isn't always easy, but it's our responsibility. There is always more to do toward making NA membership available and accessible. We don't have the power to determine who will stay clean, but we do have some ability to determine who will hear our message and how they will be welcomed. Sometimes the missing addicts are those who don't speak the dominant language in the community. In other places, women or addicts of different social classes might have a hard time feeling at home in NA. We may simply identify a blank space on a map where there aren't any meetings yet. Whatever the gaps, whoever we're not yet reaching, there is always more we can do to carry our message and make recovery available. We don't need a title to make a difference in Narcotics Anonymous. Whether we are putting away chairs or distributing meeting lists, serving on a committee, or giving an addict a ride to a meeting, there is always more to do. NA members all have an opportunity and a responsibility to serve, but that doesn't mean we serve in any position, anytime. As members, we are all equal. But that doesn't mean that we are all qualified or eligible for the same service positions at the same time. Some members are better at talking to newcomers, and some are good at getting the literature distributed or the bills paid. Our fourth concept suggests that leadership qualities be carefully considered. When choosing trusted servants, we know these are not the only qualities that matter. Finding where we can be most effective in service is rewarding. And so is service that presents a steep learning curve. Service bodies have a responsibility to see that the member assuming a service position has the skills and support to rise to the challenge in a manner that will be best for everyone, most especially the still suffering addict. When we select trusted servants, our primary purpose, rather than favoritism, should be our guide. Our job is to do our best to ensure that the member is right for the position and the position is right for the member. When we do, it benefits both the member who serves and NA as a whole. Service bodies shouldn't run popularity contests, keep service positions within a sponsorship family, or exclude members who may challenge the consensus. A service body may fill a service position or leave it vacant because it is in the best interest of NA as a whole. Decisions about who serves should always be based in our commitment to carrying the message. Tradition 3 does not mean we can behave however we want in a meeting, and it does not mean we can do whatever we like in service with no accountability. When disagreements arise, when we are obliged to set limits or follow through on guidelines, we still have a responsibility to treat each other with respect and to address problems with care. Every NA member has a right to recover in dignity and be treated as an equal. In the same spirit, our trusted servants have a right to serve and recover in an atmosphere of mutual respect, even when we disagree. The ability to keep coming back is always a life or death issue, and it is not our place to allow differences or even wrongdoing to rob any addict of membership. This is not easy. The benefits of learning to resolve conflict in a spirit of love and unity are apparent in all our relationships. Sometimes the circumstances aren't right for us to serve. This doesn't have to be a reflection on our value as a member. In one small area, a member with many years clean had served the PR committee for most of her time in NA. She knew the job and was amazingly good at answering hard questions. Then she got sick and had to take some pretty strong medication. She did it with the help of, in times of illness, her sponsor and NA friends, and no one questioned her recovery. The side effects were significant, though, and when she gave a panel presentation, she appeared to be impaired. The committee members understood her situation, but the audience did not and could not. It was none of their business. That day, in spite of her recovery and service experience, she was not a good spokesperson for NA. It didn't mean her service was over, but it was time for her to step back and help other members learn to present as well as she once did. Narcotics Anonymous is much larger than it once was. Our fellowship spans the globe, and our groups are growing in places very far from each other, both geographically and culturally. Our third tradition makes it possible for membership to be the same for addicts in very different places, and for our message to be heard and understood in dozens of languages and cultures. One member shared, "The beauty of NA became real when I saw members at an NA event embrace and sit together when their home countries were on the brink of war." We may notice this more when we see such strong differences melt away, but it can be just as powerful to sit in a meeting or to serve with another addict with whom we've had personal conflict. Our only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using, and our vision is that it will be possible for every one of us to find recovery in our own language and culture. We can hear NA speak to us in words we understand, and experience the freedom our program promises, no matter who we are or where we are. Tradition 3 opens our program to all addicts with a desire to stop using. That allows our fellowship to grow and develop beyond our wildest dreams. Workshop questions. The questions below offer a way to begin or continue a service discussion or workshop focused on this tradition. 1. What is the relationship between this service body and the still suffering addict? 2. Who is missing from our meetings? How and why do outside issues affect opportunities for addicts to recover in NA in our community? 3. Are there some addicts we think we cannot reach? What reservations do we have about reaching out? 4. How does our service body help groups to reach all addicts in our community? What challenges do our groups face in practicing tradition 3? How do we assist the groups we serve in their efforts? Is there more we can do? 5. How does this body welcome new trusted servants? What kind of support do we provide to new trusted servants? How do newcomers participate in service? 6. What are some qualifications for service beyond a desire to recover? Why are they necessary? What different kinds of opportunities to serve are available in this service body? 7. How does our own relationship to anonymity affect our ability to serve? How does our understanding of anonymity help us to accept how others serve? What consequences could arise from having our anonymity compromised? 8. How does this tradition help us understand anonymity? How does anonymity help us understand this tradition? How do we practice anonymity in terms of this tradition? 9. Discuss any bridges between this tradition and one or more of the 12 concepts. What do these bridges teach us about our service efforts? 10. What more can we do to bring the principles of this tradition into our service efforts? What could we do differently to better carry out our services? Our third tradition offers relief from reservations we might have about membership and about each other. We have nothing to prove, no one to impress, nothing to lose but our needless suffering, and nothing to gain but our freedom. This simple declaration makes a commitment to unity, anonymity, and the power of the program. Making the decision to join Narcotics Anonymous is the first of many decisions we will make as a member. We who had been utterly controlled by our addiction are now free to make decisions that will save our lives and the lives of many others. When we make a decision to try NA, we have no idea where it will take us. Our desire starts us on a journey that can set us free from our obsession and compulsion. This decision is the beginning of a new way of life for us. Joining in fellowship with others finally frees us to be ourselves. Thanks for listening. Next up is Tradition 4.